Okay, so up until this point, we've been using this page boundary and making sure that everything, all the objects that we've created are within that boundary so that we can then create a PDF. Now, this plan is going to be larger than that, which is fine. We're still going to want to draw at a 1/4 inch scale. So what I need to do is, if I look over my navigation palette, there's our little design layers icon. And then to the right of that, it looks like a page, and that's our sheet layers. So if I click on that icon, it says sheet layers up in the top of the title bar, and then there's nothing there. So I can right click and add a new sheet layer. And right now, I'll just call this A1. And this is going to be existing plan, or I can even say existing demo. So I'm going to hit OK, and that creates this sheet. It looks like it's approximately the same size as 11 by 17. I can check, I can go into my sheet layer by going edit, right clicking and pressing edit. That brings up this edit sheet layers dialog box. I can go to page setup, and I can see that it is 11 by 17. So I can hit OK and OK. So now we have this page. This is our page that we're going to be printing. I need to take what's on my design layer and put it onto my sheet layer. So if I go back to my sheet layers, I can go to my existing demo plan, and right now I just have the plan. There's nothing outside of it. So if I go up to the view menu, I can go and scroll down. There's this create viewport. So I'm going to hit create viewport. It gives me this create viewport dialog box. I can choose what I'm going to name this viewport, and I mean, all these things we can change after we've created them as well in our object info palette. But when we create a viewport, it automatically creates a drawing label, and it populates the title and drawing title information from this dialog box. So here I can see, well, I can see that this create drawing label is checked. I can uncheck that as well, and then it won't automatically create that. But we are going to want drawing labels, so we just have to make sure that our it's labeled correctly. So I go to my drawing title, and I also want this to be existing / demo plan. So I can go in and I can specify which layers are visible. I can also do all these settings I can change after the fact in Object Info Palette. So right now I will leave it at a 1/4 inch scale, top plan view, and all that is fine. So I'm just going to hit OK. And what it does is it automatically, because this is all I have on my page, it automatically crops the viewport to around the plan. And what it did is it sent that viewport to my sheet layer. So I can see there's this sheet. This time it has those margins. I can't see my check mark next to my design layers, because if I go over to my sheet layers, I'm on my existing plan sheet layer. So my plan actually fits on my sheet because it's not the actual plan to scale. So yours won't. If I go up into my object info palette, I can scroll down, and there's a scale drop down box. I can click on that, and I can choose a smaller scale, one that will fit on the sheet layer. So I can choose an 1/8 inch scale, and that should fit. You could also try a 3/16 and see if that might fit for your drawing. So that should be okay. There's other settings and adjustments we can make, but for now that'll give us the outcome that we want. Now, if we have other objects on our plan that we don't want to show on our viewport, then we need to create a crop for our viewport. So what I will then do is create a rectangle around the shape or the plan that I want. I have that rectangle selected and it says rectangle up in my object info palette. If I go view menu, create viewport, this time it asks me if the selected object may be used as the viewport's crop. Do you want to use this object as the crop? And I say yes, I do. So then it goes through the dialog box again. I can specify what layer I want to send it to. I already created this sheet layer, but if I hadn't done so, I can do a new sheet layer here. So I will do a new sheet layer. I'll call this A2, and this will be new construction or reno plan, and hit OK. So here is where I created that new sheet layer. Here I can also change the scale if I wanted to at creation. So I do 1/8 of an inch, and I hit OK. So now I've used that crop and it's created. So now I can see I'm on A2. If I go A1, A2, and you can see what happened is when I created that rectangle, it included it in its viewport. And so if I want to, I can double click on this viewport. I can edit my viewport and edit the crop and hit OK. And I can see then what I want to do is create that rectangle that I did before and then exit my viewport crop. And that crops off that rectangle that was outside my floor plan. So see here, what I've done is I've created 2 different viewports, and I've done so on 2 different sheet layers. Now the thing is, I don't have to do that because then I want to align it and see how it fits. But if I've stacked my layers accordingly and my new construction plan is on top of my existing demo, I can just duplicate my sheet. So I'm going to get rid of this A2, delete, and I'm going to duplicate this A1, and it's automatically going to be named A2. So they're the exact same sheet with the exact same viewport. Now if I go on to A2 and I select the viewport and I go up into layers, I can change the visibility and make this one, my existing demo plan, invisible and my new construction visible. And by doing just that little switch, I have my new plan on a sheet layer with a viewport created. Any questions?